I did not expect to see that when I flopped over to the video. I was like, good Lord, it looks like an Italian mafia guy about to execute a hit on me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Scared
man.
the hell out of me, man.
Yeah,
Look like a completely different. You've got to go back and see some of the previous ones, man. You look like you look like a completely different person since I last saw you.
yeah, I know. A lot of people keep saying that.
Like, and especially since like when we last had lunch together physically.
Yeah, it's happening pretty fast. So, I know
Okay.
a lot of people have said something, but man, there's no magic, you know. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I eat
Well,
healthy.
are you at the weight you were in high school or lower?
No. So I hit 260s, and I'm just now hitting the low 260s. So, in terms of how I looked at doodle hoppers in my late 20s,
Hmm.
I look better now than I did then.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like I'll have to send you a picture. Brandon sent me a picture, and
Yeah. No, I can semi remember how you looked back then.
I mean, my face was really swollen because I was a heavy
Yeah.
smoker, heavy drinker,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, because you don't smoke because now your face is thinned down.
Yeah, so I
You
and I
don't
ain't
drink either, so that's
yeah, I
yeah.
don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm still doing my Mediterranean diet, so I don't really intake a lot of sodium, which has reduced the size, like made my face go down a lot.
Hmm.
So my the anti-inflammatory properties are really good.
Yes. Yes.
So
Huh.
yeah, eating right, exercise, no smoke and mirrors, no special medication, just a good old fashioned way, man.
Yeah, but at your highest, how much did you weigh?
I don't know because when I started my current job, I remember like I couldn't hardly stand without breaking a sweat.
Okay.
Um,
So
probably I would if I had to guess, probably 375, 380.
375. So you're at 260 now, so that's roughly 120 pounds, somewhere in the ballpark, 110, 120 pounds.
Give or take, yeah. Yeah.
Within a span of a year, 6 months. How long is this now?
I would say so. I started in March last year. So
Okay.
so
Okay.
give or take. Um,
Well, that's again your journey in general. I talked to Sean yesterday, not yesterday, 2 days, 3 days ago, and I told him, how you were doing. And he's like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, no, man, he's doing really good. And Sean, he's working a job where he's got like I'm not sure if it's top secret, but it's one of the higher security levels where
maybe the
he's
top.
actually probably, but he's flying to different places and fixing their networks and all that stuff. So I mean, both of y'all are doing really well, really well.
I need to call him. I still got his number. I just
Yeah, you do. Yeah, that's what he said. I need to call him. I was like, yeah, y'all need you need to talk to each other.
I'll probably shoot him a text this week just to see how he's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, shoot him a text, man. Yeah, because he's like, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, no, man, he's doing good. You're both doing really well, and I'm very, like I told him, like I'll tell you, and it's not to be condescending, but I'm proud of both of y'all.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
Been a long journey,
It has.
long journey.
Yeah, man. If somebody had told me this time last year, because I think I was just now breaking in my retail legs at the Do It Center, you'd have told me
Yeah,
I was going to lose 100 pounds.
and be in
Yeah,
back in IT again.
and like in better shape. Like
Yeah,
I would probably have laughed at the quit smoking.
yeah,
But here I am.
yep. It just goes to show that yes, it's very hard and it's not easy, but it's a journey that if you, like Derek would say, stay in the process and just kind of keep doing it enough, you'll eventually get there. And if you're a good person too. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think good people fail at life. You know, they may have some obstacles here and there, but you know,
Um,
eventually good people land on their feet.
I guess, because last year was really crazy. But I guess if I had to go through it, when I went from retail to back to IT, and then I realized I was doing really good in school. Um,
Oh
promise you,
yeah, and you're in school too. That the
yeah,
third piece.
I made the dean's list.
Oh,
So
good man. You
um,
too.
honors. Um, so I don't know. Everything's going really good, man. The smoking kind of opened my eyes. Reminded me of when I was a kid. Um, I was scared to ride the bicycle, to ride it without training wheels. All I had to do was just keep kicking. I just kept going. The next thing you know, I was jumping curbs and rolling downstairs. It's like I guess I got the momentum from quitting smoking, and I just built on it. And I kept that promise to my little girl. So I'll kind of take you through what happened. 7 days after I went to the doctor and asked for help to quit smoking, July 3rd, I quit smoking. That was my last cigarette, was July 3rd. I didn't have the nasty taste in my mouth. So I didn't really drink sugary drinks or have to have snacks as much because water was fine. Like I didn't have a really bad breath. I wasn't self-conscious about the way I smelled. So a lot of times, having a mustache and you smoke, you got a reminder that you got through having a cigarette for most of the day. It made me self-conscious. And so that went away. I found I wasn't really that hungry. Wasn't really
Hmm.
wanting sugary drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt better. Then I had all this energy, and I was like, well, I'll just start walking, or I'll do things around the house. And I've done a lot of things I've been putting off for a long time in like one weekend. And I was like, well, I can't just sit in my house and not do anything. Why don't I just go and get a gym membership? you know.
Mm.
So it's like I don't. Everything just kind of snowballed. I guess it snowballed. I
Yeah.
guess kind of that was the progression. Um, and then now like the weight loss has been frustrating, right? But I think I've been somewhat spoiled because losing that much weight in such a short time, most people dream of that. Worked really hard. I've been very lucky. But I would say it's because I changed everything. Um, I changed what I eat. I changed. I started prioritizing self care. I started resting right. I started eating healthy. Um, I was pretty strict at the start, but as I got to understand how it all works, you can eat a cookie here and there, and it's not going to derail your progress. It's not the end of the
No.
world. If
No.
all it takes is a cookie, you were probably doomed from like that morning
Right.
when country boy breakfast from Cracker Barrel, right? Like once you understand you like, I learned my body, right? I learned what I could get away with. So yeah, it's really not that strict. If I'm
Do you
out of
think
town,
it's all like caloric intake, the amount of calories that you take in, does that play a factor into it?
it does. It does. I will tell you how I lost so much weight. It wasn't even the working out part. It was staying busy, finding reasons to get up and move. Um, like my daily activity is what is the weight loss. Not
Mhm.
going to a gym for an hour, being able
Right.
to find reasons to go across to the other side of the hospital or go up them stairs. You do that, man. Like I'll tell you, my average calorie burn in a day is anywhere between 4,000 to 5,500 calories on a
Hmm.
really busy day. That's
Is that good?
yeah, that's huge.
Okay. Like I don't know.
Even like the way I eat now,
Uh,
I eat really fresh food. So it's putting
oh,
in
okay. So that creates a deficit already. Let's just say you eat 1,200
right,
calories. You're burning 4,000, 5,000. Then
right,
that's 3,800 or 2,800. Yeah, got it.
so you're just so the simple way, if you eat more calories than you burn in a day, you
Yeah.
gain. It's the
Yeah.
simple math, right?
Yeah.
No magic. There's no special formula. Sure, there's people that do have, some challenges there, health
Yes,
issues.
yes, they have the certain glands or certain hormones and
Right,
deficiencies and imbalances, and they genuinely need some type of shot or what something to help them, you
right.
know, keep everything because
I'm not.
everybody's genetics are different.
Yeah, so I'm not knocking people who have struggles like they have
Yeah,
the glycemia where they have to break
yeah,
things. That's
yeah. They
they
need help. Yeah,
I don't have those things, you know. So I'd say I'm a pretty normal guy. I'm average, just like everybody else, and I'm cool with that. That's great. I can handle that. Um, but yeah, so just staying busy, man, and kind of looking myself in the mirror too. But probably when I started was just kind of taking it all in, really
You need
checking
to
what it was.
definitely go back and take a look at how you looked in one of the earliest ones we ever did and how you look now. Like literally when I flipped over to kind of say, hey, I sent you the link and I didn't realize you'd already gotten in. I'm like, oh Jesus, who the hell is that?
Man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the kind words. Everybody's been really
It's
supportive.
it's genuinely just like, who is that?
I do this probably right now. I've been every 3 weeks. People are like, "Did you lose more weight?" And I'm like, "Yes." So, but no, man, it's the biggest thing though was when I started to feel better. I kind of saw myself how I needed to see myself. I got in the mirror, uh, and I just kind of stared for a minute, and finally, I guess I could see what I needed to see.
Yes,
When you see the same person for every day, you look in the mirror, just the
yes,
changes are not. You can't see the changes. When I finally saw what I needed to see, that was kind of when I just said, look, I'm the one who did this. It was all my fault. Whether my
right.
health issues, whatever it is, my smoking, my drinking, my poor life choices, whatever it is, I did it. But I am the only person on the planet who can fix it. Like
Is your gray hair still in your beard?
yeah, it's still there.
Okay, you must have trimmed it up a little bit or something.
Yeah, I cleaned it up.
Okay, all right.
I got rid of Captain Neckbeard too, man. Like I had
Okay,
looking
okay.
like Pirate of the River Region. I had to take
Maybe
it all down. Oh,
that's what it is because it looks almost like even your hair's gotten darker.
yeah, and it has got a little darker. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but no, man, taking responsibility once I just kind of come to the conclusion that I did it and I was the one who could fix it. It was kind of a,
Do you think your mentality's gotten better
oh yeah,
as a result of the late weight loss? You think?
oh God, I used to be very forgetful. I don't forget much very more. I used to have to study a little harder at school. I have had to lately, and that could be the like what I'm doing right now. Work is easier. I don't get angry anymore. I don't get tired. Even when I am tired, I still have the energy to keep pushing. So,
Yeah.
yes, my mental state, I would say that when I was able to get my mind right, I was able to get my body to a place. So it's kind of like got to have one with the other, right? Um,
Yeah.
so as one got better, the other one reflected the changes, and so then it
Yeah.
just synergy of them feeding off each other, if that makes sense.
Well, people forget that the mind is a physical object. It's a muscle like everything else. So if you start taking care of your body, well, obviously your brain's going to start getting stronger too, because now you've got all these resources that can be now that may have been towards the survival of your body can now be pushed towards your mind and your heart, the involuntary muscles that you don't have control over. They're now able to, your body's able to say, okay, we're not having to put all these resources towards this. Now we can, focus it where it needs to go. And I don't have any scientific evidence to back that up, but to me, it makes sense. I mean, the more fit your body is, you know, the more it can
So,
put the energy where it needs to be.
right, think in terms of circulation though, like me
Yeah.
losing weight and cutting out smoking, my circulation's improved, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Oxygen can get to where it needs to go.
more oxygen. I'm getting more
Yeah.
nutrients to my
Hmm.
my extremities, my brain.
Yep. Yep.
My heart's working not as hard, so that
Yeah.
keeps energy going. I've got more
Yep.
gas in the tank. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's absolutely what has
Yeah.
happened. I think it's even
Hmm.
scientifically proven that a little exercise does improve your cognitive function.
It should because it just makes sense. It's more circulation. That's what exercise is. It's circulating stuff throughout your body. I
Right?
mean, again, the science should back it up,
Oh
but
yeah.
just thinking about it from a logical perspective, I mean, that's how I think it is. I mean, I can watch the anime Cells at Work and, that's my point of reference.
Man, I got my daughter. You brought that up. I got my daughter Crunchyroll, man, and she watches this. I forget what it's blue something, and it's about soccer.
Yes, yes,
They
Blue
have an
Lock.
extensive
Blue Lock.
preface about, yeah, Blue Lock, ain't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
She
it.
loves it. And the reason she loves it is because it is dramatic. Oh my God, what
Yes,
is
it
going
is.
on? And you got the
The
guy coming. I didn't expect him. And it's just like, what is going on? Like they, this clock hadn't moved and 20 different things have happened. But I'll
Yes.
sit down and watch it with her, So we do enjoy it though. I do enjoy it with her. But
She'll
man,
probably, if she likes Blue Lock, then she'll probably like Kuroko no Basket, Kuroko's basketball. And that series is completely done. She'd also like Ace of the Diamond, that's a baseball anime. They've got a rugby anime. They've got some, oh, Haiku. That's a volleyball anime. Yeah, she'd like that. I mean, I tell you, I always will be indebted to Jessica Van for introducing me to Crunchyroll, and that was almost a decade ago, I think, probably. And because that's how I got hooked on anime.
ah, where have I been?
What's that?
Where have I been?
Oh, I don't know.
I didn't even know it'd been around for a decade. I thought it was like
Yeah,
a
at least a decade. They actually bought out Funimation's uh division. So
okay.
Funimation had their own anime too, and they merged together, and so all their whole library got merged into Crunchyroll. And yeah, I'm a big fan of anime, as you know.
I think I would get into it if I had more time.
No, yeah, you would. There's so many different genres. Um, Mystery, sci-fi, just everyday life, cooking, sports. Just find something and you'll end up falling in love with it.
I'll find something, man. I mean, there's plenty of suggestions out there. I
Oh
see
yeah, I mean, just
like 10.
again, and it's good bonding for you and AMC too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I
I
got
can't
her.
wait till the kids are old enough to watch it with me.
Man, she gets into it. She likes it. I'll tell you, I there is one I have enjoyed, but I don't know the name of it. I'll get it to you. But it is actually really cool, and it's based off of kind of like a gaming setting, like the guys leveling up, fight monsters and stuff.
Solo leveling?
I think that's it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's it. And
It's
I rather
it's
enjoyed that. I rather enjoyed it. I thought it was cool.
yeah. What it is the guy, he's a hunter and he dies.
Yeah, and
Yep.
he's come. Yeah, you got it.
Comes
That,
back. Yep. Yep. And that is
yep.
actually based off of a Korean, what they call it manhwa. It's not manga, but a manhwa. So that's what that's based off of. Yeah, I'm completely like me and this coworker of mine. He's been on a couple times, so we completely nerd out on that stuff.
Oh, man, I like it. I like Solo Leveling. It's faster paced.
Yeah,
So they do. He does. He goes in his head a lot when he's about to, put the smack down. But he
yeah.
ain't waste much time after he has his thought.
No,
Like you
no.
showtime, so I can handle that.
Sword Art Online. If you like solo leveling, you'd probably like Sword Art Online.
I
Uh,
bet.
yeah, there's so many different shows out there. You could like if we got that universal basic income and had no need to work anymore, which I'd still work, I could be just sitting at home just animeing it up.
Crunchyroll for days, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man, I do wait on her when she comes to watch it with her. Because I did get her. I got her a Frankenstein system together, so she's on the computer now. So
Okay. Well, is that a Frankenstein system? Is that like a
well,
CPO that you put together?
yeah, I quilted one together from spare parts.
That's nice.
Well, I didn't see any reason. I wanted to see how she was gonna react with it. And the truth is, kids play the games that when I played it younger, that were thought to be nerdy. The open world games where you could kind of do whatever you wanted. That's the standard for games.
That is.
Roblox. I mean, it's all about what you can create, and so
Yeah.
the
So
graphics
is
on.
first person shooters. That's pretty
Yeah,
standard too.
yeah, but they
Diablo, StarCraft, those things are all standard kind of now.
yeah, but she doesn't. She's not a hack and slasher, so she's more
Okay.
like the Roblox.
Good.
So
Good.
but I went on and got her Discord. Um, I figured it was time. She's old enough, and I keep an eye on her with it. It's either she either I do it with her, so that I'm included because I do join her online and play games with her. I try to stay involved. It's a lot easier to
Right.
stay involved with her than it is to bust in her room. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Let me see. Like, no, nobody wants to be treated like that. I wouldn't do that.
No,
That would just
no.
teach me how to lie and hide stuff from her. But that's all it taught me, right? If I ain't gonna go into it.
Yeah. Well, I
So
tell you, kids even at a very young age, they know when they do something wrong.
yeah,
Like Evie this morning. So Evie's 4, gonna be 5, and she had something in her hand that was in the bathroom. I was like, "What are you doing?" She, you know, jerked, jerked over real quick, looked at me like shocked. I'm like,
auto them.
"Where'd you get that?" She's like, "Nowhere." It's like, "You got it from the garbage can. I know you got it from the garbage can." Well, why is my levy in the garbage can? It's like, because it fell in the toilet and Daddy put it in the garbage can. So I know you fished it out of the garbage can. So go wash your hands.
Bless her heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bless her heart.
So
It happens.
I know it. It's amazing that they learn how to hide and do things like that at such a young age. I mean, it's not a taught behavior. It's inherent almost.
So, well, then, it's, it's intelligence.
Yeah, it is a sign of intelligence.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
It's
was like, is it right? We're kind of figured that out. It's
yeah, she knew. I mean, she knew she wasn't supposed to do it because the way she looked at me, it was like, oh crap. I got caught.
uh,
So
but man, I'm still praying for you. Is everything going good on that front?
yeah, yeah, everything's going good on that front. Probably next month or two. I should know definitely for certain on that.
I imagine
Um,
with that kind of volume, it's going to take a significant amount of time to chew that up.
yeah, it is. It's uh well, my friend who also works with me, he's told me that typically, he's been on the mortgage side now, maybe 3 or 4 years. I'll have to check with Josh. But he said that typically, now this is not as a producer, he works as what's called a closer, that usually the start of the year from February to August is when it really picks up for mortgage loan officers in general. And I went back and I looked at my volume from that time frame, and I was like, huh, that's actually true. And you know, it's just one of those things where I have to be patient. And this one that I'm working on, once Lord willing, once I close it, it'll be something to be uh worthy enough to put on a resume.
I'll keep the juice going too, man. Keep praying.
Yeah. And then
Keep
when it's closed, I'll be sure to tell you.
to celebrate.
Oh yeah, hey. Well, when it's all said and done, I'll tell you a story that this guy that I really really respect. He told me, he's like, well, hey, well, if this thing closes from, I know you didn't want to tell me the amount. Well, I'll take you out to a steak dinner. It's like, well, if you knew how big this thing actually was,
Yeah, prime rib instead, huh?
yeah. But I tell you a stupid game that I got hooked on that I had to absolutely delete off of my phone. Township. You ever heard of it?
I heard. So you got sucked into the mobile web of deception, huh?
Yeah, no, man. It's not deception. It's my own stupidity.
And
It's like it's
pay
one
to
of
win.
those. Yeah, you pay to keep going to build. So I'm building my little town and whatnot, you know? And
Yeah, yeah,
so once I got to this certain feature of the game where you do the blocks and all that stuff, and it had like this thing where the rainbow sphere like would hit it twice in one go. So I got it up to like level whatever it was, and I just couldn't stop. I was like, yeah, I'm getting all these credits and these points and things. I'm building this town up really good. And like, I had to stop. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm spending 20, 30, 40, 50 I no, I got to delete this game now. I can't. So I literally had to delete it off my phone because within the past month, I don't know how much I just like, no, this is not, I can't even justify this. So I deleted it off my phone. So just be careful. Be
I mean,
careful.
I,
Don't get hooked on those things.
man, I think years ago, when mobile games were just coming out, I think I got wrapped up in a couple, but I just couldn't. Just too time consuming. Plus, I need the mouse, the keyboard, or the controller.
It sucked me in, man. It really did. I thought I'd never get sucked in by one of those types of games, but I did, and I spent some money. I'm just like, down, done, delete, over.
And me and my ex were playing a fish tank game.
Yeah, no.
I think we spent money on a fish tank game. I went out and was like, man, I'm not cleaning the fish tank anymore. I let my fish die. Then her fish died, and I was like, wow, it's like real life. You can't keep fish in the game or in real life. So that's not going to stop. Yeah, so she cut that off after she got mad at me. But yeah, man. So how's Jill? I heard she's at River Oaks once a month, right?
Once a month, yeah. She works at Montgomery Vascular, so they have patients that they see out there.
Okay. I'll try to make it that way next time. So Dr. Lyons, that's him and Dr. Coleman's building.
Okay.
Um, they own that, so they got all the tenants on the second and third floor, but the first floor is all theirs.
Okay.
I'm over there probably 3 or 4 times a week, maybe four, um, because they got them groceries. So all the drug reps, they're one of our busiest clinics. So the drug reps come through a lot. So
Uh-huh.
like last week, they got ice cream and Mexican. Um, like, listen, man, it's crazy. They had cannolis. Um, man, they get everything like donuts, Moe's, Jim and
Yeah,
Nick's barbecue, and
I believe it.
this is weekly. So I just like, oh man, I need to go over to River Oak and do a little grazing in the break room.
Yeah.
So I'll go over there and graze a little bit, give me something to eat. But
It's
if
interesting. The drug reps are doing the same thing that I do is I just kind of randomly will, you know, with the settlement agents and the real estate agents and all that, just, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit for everybody.
because you gotta come to mind when they have an idea, you gotta be the one that pops up, right? So
That's
you gotta
that's
keep
right.
coming, right? You gotta, oh, there's
That's
Jill.
right.
So when
That's right.
they need that person, the first thing they think of is you. So yeah, I
Yes,
understand completely.
that's right.
But I don't know if I
But
told you.
ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm still hungry. So, if I don't really think about that guy, it's okay.
I mean, it does help. It really does help. I hear the doctors talk about that all the time. They do like that. So
Okay.
that does help big time. I'm sure it helps in the real estate too. Sure it does. I told you I ran into my uncle a while back, right?
Yes. Yes. I don't. Was this a different time or same time?
So the first time I had my doctor's appointment, right when I quit smoking that first, I went to the doctor to get help. He was in there, and I seen him, and he didn't even recognize me because I hadn't seen him in 20 years.
Oh, okay. Yes, I think he did, but can you refresh my memory again?
Yeah, I talked to him for a little bit. My aunt Shelly, his wife, passed away 2 years ago from cancer. So,
Hmm.
but I reached out to him then, but I hadn't heard from him since my mother, his sister, passed away. But yeah, I ran up to him and I got my labs done, and I went back in there to River Oak in the provider's hallway where the doctors are. Just walked up and said, "Hey, man, it's good to see you." He's like, "Oh my God, we've talked a few times. I know
Oh,
he
good.
stays pretty busy. So he was at the time he was a drug rep for Bayer, and I think he moved to selling chemo. Um,
Oh, okay.
well, I think his son, his oldest son Garrison, is going to med school right now at UAB to become a doctor, probably an oncologist.
Hmm.
Um, and then my cousin, the middle cousin, his daughter is at Faulkner right now as a nurse in nursing school.
Okay.
His youngest son's at Auburn University. So
Gotcha. Well, the
he's
whole
doing
family have some type of medical connection.
Yeah, well, I think that was coming anyways because Uncle Robbie does work around a lot of. He's been working around healthcare for 20 years as a
Yeah,
pharmaceutical sales rep. So I mean, that's what he's been rubbing elbows with. So
right.
that's only natural. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool to see him. I was happy to see him. It's weird though, because I haven't seen him for 20 years, so it's not like it's a warm reunion of hugs and
Right.
constant calls. It's a little awkward, but it's gotten better.
Yeah.
But I'm not forcing it up. And the
Yeah.
other side of that is he has gotten tremendously busy because his kids are going to college.
Right.
His wife passed, and he's down
Right.
there in the house by himself. If I was him, I would be looking for any reason on the under the sun to get out of the house. I'd work myself to death just to get out of
Right.
the house and get my head
Yeah.
right.
So you don't have to think about it.
Yeah. So, and I'm that's what I know what he's doing. I think anybody with a brain would be able to figure that out. So I haven't been too, you know, pushy. I haven't. Hey, let's come hang out. Even though we haven't hung out in 20 years, I'm not done anything like that. But I am glad he's doing like him and my cousins are doing really good. Like that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's a really good feeling. So.
Yeah, and I hardly ever talk to my family. Well, I don't have any connection with my family on my mom's side, so I at least have a Facebook connection with my dad's side, but even then, I really don't have a connection with them because they're all up in the Northeast. So um, love them, would love to be able to actually have a relationship with them, but I mean, they got Facebook, I've got Facebook, and they can see it if it's in their feed, and I just reach out every now and then, just a message, just to keep the connection there. But ultimately, I think when it comes to family, especially once it gets to a place, eventually mom's gonna pass. I mean, that's the reality of it. When she does pass, my attention and my focus will be on my family, you know? I mean, that's just naturally what's going to happen. And that layer covering of, I always had my parents to turn to if I had questions. That's not going to be there anymore. It's going to be different, but it's just a part of life. You get used to that.
Yeah, man. I can relate with that, especially with my mom. Well, I guess my dad too. Um, yeah, man, because there's nobody else to go to. There's nobody above you, right?
Right.
I mean,
I
that
mean,
kind
you can go to the Lord, of course,
of
but it's different.
it helps to have that somebody you've looked up to or been there for you all your life, just look you in the eye and tell you everything's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Everything's going to be okay. Yep.
um I know what you mean. It's tough, man. It really is. I don't
It is.
I don't know. I don't never think that feeling ever goes away, even though
No,
I'm accustomed to it. It never goes away from
no, no. I still miss dad every day, even
me.
though it's been 5 years now. We didn't have the greatest relationship in the world, but he is still somebody. The good qualities that he had, I admire and I respect, and I try to emulate the best I can. Um, he always taught me this, and I still remember it. If you're going to manage somebody, manage people underneath you, you always want to praise them in public. If you have to discipline them, you got to discipline them in private. It's the most core fundamental thing he ever taught. And I remember a story. He told the story. I don't think he has any reason to embellish it. Of a time when he, in a meeting, a big meeting with all his higher ups, individually called out his teammates to kind of praise them, and they were all just so moved by it. They were happily, just openly, just so moved that he would do that. But again, that's how dad was. He would, in the work environment, he would always, if he would praise you publicly, but if he had to correct you, he would pull you aside and do that with you in private. And again, he followed the golden rule in practice. in to great effect.
That's a leader. That's a good leadership trait.
Hmm.
As because you can say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and you know take the motivation out of one of your employees or somebody that follows
Yeah.
you.
And they
It's
may
just
not even remember what you say 20, 30 years from now, but they'll remember how you they made them feel.
yeah, yeah. It, tone is very careful and timing is very careful when you're
Hmm.
leading others, and also a level of respect. I
Hmm.
absolutely agree. That is a great tactic too. Um, I have the office. I should use it. I'm the one with the door. So if
Yeah.
I speak to somebody, I should use some discretion to
Yeah.
not disrespect them. So I
Yeah.
think that's a great leadership quality. That's a really good leadership quality that
It
you
is
obviously.
because you can call anybody in at any point in time, and if you make it as like a normal thing, then people won't think that, oh no, he's getting called in to get chewed out. It's like, no. I mean, it's I'm calling you in. This is kind of way you can kind of make it work too. It's where it doesn't seem like it's like getting called in to get chewed out. It's like call people in and just call them in just to talk to them too. That's kind of you can kind of run that parallel alongside the discipline aspect of it. And then, but that way, when you do have to discipline them, it doesn't look. I mean, it just depends upon the environment. I mean, if everybody's used to being called in to be talked to, then they won't know the difference of when they're being called in to be disciplined. But that's a good way to kind of layer it so that way nobody has the assumption like, oh, he's getting called in to get chewed out. If you make it kind of like a regular practice, that way you can still, criticize them and correct them in private without it making too blatantly obvious. That,
Always
I'm not,
opportunity.
like I said, I don't know how he actually did it because I never worked with him, but
There's always opportunities though. Like if
yeah,
you're from one place to another, you got to go
right.
for a ride. Hey, why don't you ride with me? I need your
Yeah,
help.
yeah,
Not complete isolation, and then you can.
that's right.
There's a lot of times if there's a problem, from my experience, um, I want to find out if everything's okay, my employee first.
First, yeah, that's right.
Because things can distract people. Um, Problems can be rough, and a lot of guys think that they can bottle it up. I tell myself that I can leave my problems out in the parking lot next to my car when I come to work, but it's really hard to do sometimes. Sometimes they follow me, and
Well,
so
because we're all human, you
right.
know, we're
Oh,
not, we're not robots. We can't just flip a switch and turn off. I mean,
absolutely not.
even the most, and I don't mean this in a bad way, even the most autistic person that is able to kind of disassociate from their feelings has feelings, we're all humans. We all have these chemicals running through our bodies that create emotions. So it's, you're going to feel even the most robotic uh coworkers I've had over the years, seemingly robotic. You find that one pressure point that there's an emotion underneath it.
So there's something there.
Yeah, there's always an emotion somewhere.
Absolutely. So how's the Faith to Find a Job small group? How are they doing?
They're doing good. They're still consistently meeting on Wednesdays. That is the one group that openly has a mission of to be empty, but it will never be empty just because it's people will always need jobs.
Yeah.
And if they always need jobs, they'll always need better jobs. And so it's a rotating door. Uh, some people are consistently there, haven't found a job. Other people, they come, they go within a week, some couple months, some a couple years. I mean, but George has created a group that will help people for a very long time. It'll be probably one of his greatest legacies, on top of everything else he's done in his life.
Success to it, right? I mean, I went through it. It taught me a lot. It's pretty
But
big.
and also the other side of it too, anyone that has ever led a small group, Doesn't matter what your denomination of faith is. I'm just speaking specifically from the Christian lane. Anyone that's ever led a small group, me being a former small group leader, I can honestly say I receive more than I give. So I highly encourage anyone to create their own small group at some point in time and be a small group leader because you think that they're receiving a lot from you, but you actually receive 10 times more from them. And it really grows your faith. It really it grows your compassion. It helps you see life in a better way. And I believe that everybody should at least at some point in time be a leader of a small group. If you don't want to do it within the confines of a church, that's fine, but at least find a small group of people that you consistently reach out to and connect with. And in a spiritual sense, I am a firm believer that you just make the time to pray for, even whether they know it or not, you're praying for.
I will tell you, man, having my employees, to me, leadership is servitude, right?
Yep, yep,
If you're serving those people you're leading, you're doing it right.
right.
It involves a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah,
You got to be there when sometimes don't want to be, or you're tired, or you got things going on for yourself. But the reward is watching people become more, or
yes,
watching them get over the challenges that they face before. Watching my guys develop professionally and start to get confidence,
yes,
to take on situations that you know a month or 2 months ago they didn't have the confidence to embrace. They didn't have the
right.
critical thinking to tackle it, and then watching it, it's like, wow, that's what I'm talking about. That's the payment there. That's the reward. Is
It
knowing that
is.
you're better and you played a hand in that. Like that's huge.
You don't want to ever be the end all be all of your job because if you go down, the whole system goes down. And that's not what it's meant to be. What you want to do is you want to duplicate yourself almost to the point where you're out of a job. But if you know how to use your political equity properly, you'll never be out of a job. Um, Ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to understand that our systems that we learn and we develop, they can be mimicked or improved upon, and they should be simply because no man's an island, you know. It's just not meant to be that way. When I think of a leader, I think of an army that's charging against another army, but crazily enough, the leader is charging in front of his army, but the army's actually charging in front of the leader to protect the leader. But the leader's out there charging into battle too. And his army's literally chasing him to be in front of him to protect him. That's how I think of it. I think that's how I think it's like a very in the trenches type of leader. Now, I mean, again, that's why you would protect the king because king's a psychopath. He's trying to take out the enemy, so we got to protect him. We got to get in front of this guy because he's trying to mow them down. He's not sitting on the sidelines. He's actually going after them. So that's the way I look at leadership. It's not a stationary position. It's actually a very moving, very active position.
There is a
To me, that's real leadership.
To me, man, I would agree. Most days I'm a coworker.
Yeah,
Most days I need to get down there and work with them. But
yeah. I'm not going to ask you to do anything I'm not willing to do myself.
right, right. It's most of the time, like I said, I'm a coworker. But every now and then I have to be, a manager. So,
Yeah.
but
Because you
you know,
can't be everywhere at once. So that's why
and then I don't. There's certain things that take more than training, time and experience to be, seasoned to handle certain situations right. Like that has
that's
to
right.
time. Uh,
That's right.
Manual for dealing with certain situations, right? So,
Right.
but yeah, man, I think you're spot on with the leadership there. So that's kind of what it is. Be willing to
Hmm.
get in there and work with your guys, whoever you're leading. Get down there and sweat with them, and they'll follow. Lead them in the right path.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
where
And also be willing to say, hey, this is we're burning the boats. This is the way we're going. We may not survive, but we're gonna go after it. And then also along the way, say, hey, messed up here on this one, but you guys still want to follow me?
All right, let me cut this off real quick. All right, sorry about that.
You're good.
I really got. Well, man, how is Derek doing?
He's doing okay. He's doing okay. Uh he's ran into a little bit of a challenge. You may want to reach out to him, talk to him.
Okay,
Um, but nonetheless, um, he's good. He's good. Uh, I'll let you ask him about that.
okay,
Uh, it's it's not bad per se, but it's something that it's a little bit of an obstacle. You like Sean, him, you guys have always had a kind of interesting uh career paths, you know, kind of from um journeyman when it comes to jobs. You know what I'm saying? Um, Me, I've been blessed with going on 18 years. Told Evie and Jill I'd like to put in another 5 and be able to, call it a day. But, that's hogwash. I think what people don't do enough is they don't stop and take a look around at their life and say, hey, there's a lot of other stuff going on in this world that we really need to pay attention to. And what would it be like if you don't have to worry about paying your bills? You got a steady free stream of cash flow that's coming in. So you don't have to worry about your basic needs. Again, you've done what it takes to get to that place, work, whatever. But now you can just stop and be aware and look around. Because again, there's people that are much smarter than us, that have a lot more money than us, that have a lot more things than us, that make decisions that ultimately affect everything around us. And you'd be a fool not to say that that's not a possibility. You know, uh, truth is in some ways malleable. It can be altered. Well, maybe not truth, but maybe facts. Maybe real truth is never. It can never be bent. But I just think that ultimately, at the end of the day, people need to have a grasp of their personal finances, be able to understand how much do I really need to live? How much do I really need for shelter? How much do I really need for, food, transportation, clothing? If I get those 4 things out of the way, I really don't need all this extra stuff. That's all gravy. So I've always been an advocate of personal finances. People need to take care of their personal finances because I've lived through it. I wouldn't ask anybody to do these things, care about these things, if I hadn't had to learn it through the hard way. So, you know, it's
I mean, I've taken a beating for what? Personal finance beating for years. I think this is the first year I'm actually doing it right. So
I think so. I think so. And I really don't I I'm the probably one of the few people that would probably tell you I don't care how you make well, ethically. I really don't care how you come into $100 million. If you want it by winning the lottery, I'm very excited and happy for you. I don't care. I don't I if you took 20, 30 years to build a business that gave you that much money, that's great. If you want it and by luck out of the lottery, that's great. I would want that. I would applaud that. I would cheer that for people. And so, it's what you do after you have it. That's what matters more than anything else. And Derek and I, we were laughing jokingly on our last conversation because I was talking about the FYCF for the people. And I told him, like, I can't spell out what the FYCF is. I mean, that's a Patreon episode. So
That's
if you go back and take a look at it, I get that close to saying what it is, and anybody with half a brain can knows what FYCF is. But anyways, it's one of those things where we're in a society where we have so much blessing and generosity and just one of the greatest countries ever. I don't think you'll ever find me not saying this at any point throughout the time James and James has ever existed. That I know for a fact we are living in the greatest generation in the greatest country with the most potential to have more than we could ever imagine. And I don't want my life to be so distracted that I'm not aware of what's going on around me. And if I'm working, then I'm working so that my kids can have just an enlightened perspective of everything. So that way they know, you know?
man. While we do anything, right, for the fam, So, um, but man, that's wild. So you really are thinking about hanging up the service burst hat in 5 years and moving on to something, or so are you going to actually retire? Are you going to move to something else,
I,
or?
I don't know. I don't know for certain. I'm the reason why I set a number to it is because if I didn't set a number to it, it doesn't give me anything to shoot for. And so ultimately, what I need to do is I need to think about what exactly do I need. So obviously, for me, it's making sure I have the education in place for the kids, making sure I have enough income for us to live off of. And the other piece is have enough to make sure the house insurance and property taxes are paid. Okay. So if you get your mortgage paid off, what's the thing that you actually absolutely have to have is being able to pay your property taxes, being able to pay your insurance. Get those two things taken care of, then really it's just living on your day-to-day needs. So, you know, if I have enough set aside in education for the kids, then, if by chance they don't do well enough on the ACT to get a scholarship, they at least have something to fall back on. They have funds being set aside in the 529 plan. Now, is it reasonable to shoot for that goal? I think so. The Where it became a possibility is when I realized that if I take a sales position with really no true income caps, so when you're a salaried person, you're you're capped. So there's nothing wrong with having a salary job. You should have a salary job to build up your reserves to be able to go into a sales position. But if you go into a sales position, you have to realize that you have to really take advantage of it and really maximize your earnings as much as you possibly can. And so you want to have both. If you can have a job and at the same time do something in sales that can you got your stable income and then you got your variable income coming in as well, then that could potentially get you to a place where you can set a goal number and then try to shoot for it. Now, will I get it in 5 years? Who knows? But if I do get it, at least I set a number. So,
Well, man. If everything goes right, man, that's a powerful position to be in.
yeah.
5 years at our age. That's a very powerful position to be in, man. I hope you get there. I think you will.
And along the way, I've got my a little backup plan. I'll play a lottery ticket here and there.
I hear you. I hear you,
Uh,
man.
and so, if I hit it,
Get a little
then,
breathing
that
space.
accelerates the plan.
That's it. There you go. That's awesome. Oh, how is Joe?
Oh, he's good. He's good. He's he's year two, year three of the business now.
Yeah.
So he's doing well. He's understood the difference now between being an employee and a business owner, and it's very different because when you're an employee, You work your time, you go home, and if you're a good employee, you work over your time. That's normal. But when you're a business owner, you really don't have time, you know? And the less employees you have, the more time you have to put in. And it's very exhausting. But he's also learned a very important lesson of the working capital cycle, your accounts payable, your accounts receivable, and the gap. So whenever anybody wants to go and do their own business, I would highly recommend that they have a line of credit, whether it's a line of credit they've personally built out of their own savings or a line of credit that a bank is giving them or a private hard money lender is giving them. The reason why is because there's always going to be a gap between when you get paid by somebody and when you have to pay your vendors. And that gap can be a 15 to 30 day cycle. And that's what that line of credit is for, is to fill that gap because your employees are still going to need to be paid. Your bills are still going to need to be paid. You're still going to need to eat. And so one of the things that my dad, he wanted to start his own company years ago. And even with my very, very, very little knowledge of banking, I told him, Dad, you're not going to be able to take a salary right out the gate. He needed to. I was like, well, you're not going to be able to simply because I didn't even understand working capital back then. It's because the money needs to flow into the business. That's your baby. That baby needs to grow. If you don't have any money going into the business, you can't pay yourself. So, in essence, what happens is you have to have a good bookkeeper that is handling your accounts receivable. That is like you're going out there, you're doing your job. To kind of put it into your world, you go on site to do a job. Okay. Network, fix the network. But okay. Well, obviously, the way it works is unless they're paying you at the time when you do the work, what happens most of the time? You bill somebody.
Send them an
You
invoice,
bill
or you
them.
not an invoice, you leave it there, and then you get a check within 30 days,
Yeah.
right?
So 30 days. Well, if you don't have a good person that's a bookkeeper in place to send out those invoices and to collect on those invoices, all you got is freaking $100,000 in receivables. That's 0 to 30, 30 to 45, 45 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 to 120. Well, banks, what they will do is they will look at your receivables and they'll age your receivables. And then it doesn't matter how much you've got in receivables. If you get something that's 120 days, 90 days plus, they're not going to give you credit for that. They're going to cut that off. They're only going to look maybe at most 90. So I always tell somebody if you're going to be in this game, you want to you want to treat 30 like 90. Treat it like you're getting it within 30 days. So again, your bigger clients like Walmart, Target, whatever, these big box companies, they'll drag you out because it doesn't hurt them. They've got the capital to drag you out. So if you're going to have clients, you want to have a blended mix of clients that you know that you can collect on. So, and the faster you can collect them, the more that $100,000 in receivables looks really good. It's actually, that's something that, a bank, what yes, they care about your receivables because that's what they're going to put a lien on, but they want to see is your checking account. If you got 100,000 in receivables, you got 50,000 in the checking account, well, then, to me, just looking at a glance, it looks like you can collect on your receivables. So those are things that you got to think about because ultimately that income is creates cash flow, and that's what I think about whether or not your business is going to survive, your cash flow. And so that's what he's learning. He's learning that and how hard it is to have good people to handle not just the work, which is very important. That's what you're getting paid for, but to collect. And and also too, you have to keep in mind that all accountants are not the same. All lawyers are not the same. So if you're going to get a good accounting firm, you got to make sure they know what they're doing and they're going to do your books right. So, not saying that his books were being done wrong, but these are just things that you learn.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's That's something we deal with in healthcare a lot. So accounts receivable, insurance companies, that is something that I have learned a lot more about since working in healthcare. That is it's a tough business, man. It's a really tough business. There's a lot of times what people don't realize in healthcare is that what keeps the lights on is the insurance claims. Most people aren't required or they're not going to be held accountable for what they don't pay the hospital. And most people do not pay the hospital. So whatever the insurance companies, that's what the hospital is stuck with. The hospitals can get it back in tax refunds. They can get it knocked off their taxes. They have to prove that they did everything they could to try to collect the debt, but they're not required to put it on credit. So what a lot of people don't understand is by the time you pay a doctor, have staff to review the billing, you have billers to send the bills out, pay the receptionist, the registration, check the patient in, you pay the nurses. Like it's there's a lot of fingers in the healthcare pie right now. It is crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Um, I'm glad I'm not a healthcare provider, right?
Right.
It's just come and give them the old thumbs up as I'm solving their computer issue or helping them with the software issue, and then I can go on my merry way and not have to deal with patients. It's brutal, man. It really is brutal. It's kind of crazy you brought that up because that's something I've noticed that there's that working capital. There's gaps, because you're having to deal with insurance companies. So if you got a large AR and then an insurance company rejects it because there's a typo on it, like
Yeah.
I can set the company back. So that's kind of something I've noticed.
And
So yeah,
again,
are
the AR piece of it, that's in every business.
yeah,
It's in every business because unless your business can operate on you pay me as soon as the services are rendered, you're gonna have a lag in when you actually get paid. And that is what accounts receivable is. And again, it exists in every single business. And that's where lenders will fill that gap. It doesn't have to be uh, a bank or a credit union. I mean, there's a lot of private lenders out there. Now they charge you higher interest rates, but typically that's what investors are. They are injecting capital into the company to help it exist, and they expect a rate of return on it. And that's what, in essence, that's what a bank is. It's in essence an investor into a business, and they're getting a little piece of it in some way, shape, or form. But most banks, they don't want to, what most banks or any lender should be thinking of is they want to lend on cash flow or the ability to repay. They do not want to be a collateral lending bank. They don't want to go through the hassle of hiring an attorney to collect on what they think is X amount of value in AR or real estate or whatnot. The only thing that's of value is the cash. But even then, uh, even if you were to do a CD secured loan, you still risk out on the interest that you would have earned. So even a CD has risk to it, a CD secured loan. So, again, that's why if you were ever to want to have somebody in your own company one day, I would always be an advocate of someone that has some form of actual banking experience, not just an accountant. You want somebody that understands risk and risk analysis and can say, hey, I know you want to go out and buy this vehicle or whatnot, this equipment. The reason why we can't do this right now is because of this. The cash flow is not supporting this. Can you show me why we should do this? What type of jobs we have coming in? And again, you know, Dave Ramsey has built his business off of not having any debt, and he's done really good at it. Um, and that's simply because you have more ability to build your wealth with your income. That's how your wealth is built, is through income. You buy cash flow, income producing assets. An income producing asset could be something as simple as a treasury bond, you know? It's something that generates money for you. And sometimes people use, like, as I've learned over time, we live in a society now where debt is not going to go away anytime soon. So I've had to acknowledge that self-lending is my own personal way of doing it. There's no loans Dave Ramsey's way. And then there's also, you're going to have debt. So if you're going to have debt, I'm an advocate of save up enough to make your loan to value as low as possible. 40% loan to value, where you're putting 60% in. I mean, that's good. A lot of people do 80%. 80% is too high. That means you're only putting 20% down. Now, when it comes to homes, it's one of those things where, your home is one of the assets that does appreciate in value. So you have to think about how quickly would it be for you to save $80,000? Well, how quickly would it to have a home that's in an area that appreciates in value, appreciate 80,000 in value? See, and that's again with real estate, it's not just a transaction, it's also your homestead too. It's your home. And so it's interesting with real estate. It's one of those things where I think everybody should have real estate of their own. Um, you don't need a big ass mansion or anything like that, but you do need something that's your own that you can pass down to your kids, you know? I mean, I've heard so many people say, you know, don't own real estate, just rent. It's like, well, yeah, but eventually you're gonna not be here anymore. Don't you want to leave something tangible to your kids? Well, I don't plan on having kids. It's like, okay, well, think about, let me ask you that again when you're 80 years old and about to die, and you don't have any kids. I mean, did your life really feel rewarding if you didn't have kids? You know, just think about it from that. Just think beyond yourself. I
That's
mean,
hard for me to do. That's
Elon Musk doesn't have real estate, but he's also the richest man in the world. He could
but
buy a home if he wants to.
yeah, but you nailed it. People don't think past
A
themselves.
little different with him.
So people really don't. A lot of people don't think past themselves these days, and it shows. It shows. It really does show. It's pretty deep there. But I've noticed that. Noticed that a lot. But
I
man,
mean, think about it this way. Think about it this way for yourself personally. If somebody were to come to you tomorrow and say, hey, you gotta, you know, sorry, I'm gonna need you to move out tomorrow. You know, you don't have a home. Who? But versus if you own the home, the only thing you have is your homeowner's insurance and your property taxes, right? That's the only thing you have to pay, and that's really not that much. 1,200, uh, let's say 400. Yeah, depending on where you live, property taxes are 180 a year. Insurance 300 a year. I mean, it's not that much. You just open up a separate checking account, homeowners insurance and taxes. You throw the money into there, and, and again, you know, and the government they need the money from property taxes, you know, unless they're going to tax you on gas and food and all that stuff. Your local governments need that income. So, at the end of the day, I don't if the only reason why you should rent for the rest of your life is you don't plan on ever having a family, or you're so wealthy that you could outright buy something
yeah.
for your family. But other than that, I just think, why wouldn't you buy something to leave to your kids? I need to do a poll of people that rent and say, hey, you know, yeah, it's a pain in the butt to um, own a
Yeah,
home. But
right there with you.
would you not like to have a home, like something that's yours, that somebody just knocks on the door one day and says, "Hey, we're not renewing your lease. You got to get out. You got to vacate."
glad that I'm finally in a position to make some significant changes in the next year and a half, 2 years.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's at the end of the day, you're in a position now where you can actually do that, you know? Um, and I just can't imagine certain scenarios where realtors have told me where they've gotten to some conversations with people that are first-time home buyers. Person's been renting a place, and again, there's nothing wrong with renting as long as they know if they can't own a home. There's nothing wrong with renting. But if you have the ability and the capability to own a home, person's been renting a place for 7 years. You know, your average mortgage is a 30-year mortgage. If you're aggressive, you could do a 15-year mortgage. Now, the finances are really good. Let's just assume that person's finances were really good and they could have afforded a 15-year mortgage. For 7 years, they would already halfway there in owning that home outright, free and clear. I did a mortgage for a lady last year. That mortgage was enough so that person can probably own this home. Without saying the amount, it's about the cost is about probably like a new pickup truck, high-end pickup truck. That's the mortgage. Yeah. Now, it's an area of Alabama that most people wouldn't want to live in, but like I said, within a year, 2 years, 5 years, I mean, this person can own this home outright. And that's a home that they can pass to their kids forever.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, because I gotta be up at 4:30 in the morning. I gotta be at River
Mm.
Oak at 6. We upgraded their network last Thursday, and they are at full staff on Mondays. So
Oh
I have
boy.
to be, well, we upgraded it Thursday. Friday, most people don't. Most people do not come in on Fridays there. Like most of the providers are off on Fridays there.
Hmm.
So everybody's gonna be there in the morning, and it's gonna be a big party, and I'm gonna be there too, just in case anything blows up. But
Yes, you do. You need to be on site.
man, but I want to continue the conversation though. I wanted to see if you're gonna have some more time this week, because I mean, with the
Yeah,
election, there's a lot
yeah.
to discuss, man. We got to catch
Oh,
up.
yeah. No, yeah, we can do a little bit later on too.
Okay,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right. Let me know. Pick back up this week, man. Knock it out.
Yeah.
I
But
got
man, I just gotta call you like Mafia Blake from now on, man. You're just like a completely
got
different
my
individual.
Russian accent.
Scared the hell out.
Man, I guess I do look different. I know I look different. I still got my picture from when I first started my job that I have now from last year, and I look like Santa Claus.
You should have seen the picture of how you looked probably back when you were still working at the other places, man. I mean, you look very different.
I feel
Not in a
really
bad way. Not in a bad way.
Yeah, that's what everybody keeps telling me. And I feel really good. Man, even my ex texted me after she seen me. Was it not last week, the week before? She was like, "You look different. You look really good, actually." Told me she was proud of me.
Just like, thanks, thanks. You're telling me I look like a piece.
I was like, "Yeah." I mean, but I told her like I know why I did it. A lot of it was for my daughter. You know, a lot of the conversations we have, the reality of where I was. This time last year, I'd lay down at night if I had a pain in my chest, even if it was gas. It worried me.
Right.
I was a nervous wreck. My mother died at such a young age. She died in her late 40s. I'm headed that way. I'm not that far from it, right?
Yeah.
So, it was getting nerve wracking. So to be able to be able to look her in the eyes and keep that promise and not have to worry, like I can't help if a meteor falls out of the sky or
Right. You
like
can't help
traffic sign,
things
like
that
I
are
can't,
outside of your control. Yeah.
but I'm not sprinting down a hill to death, right? I'm not
Right.
falling in the grave, you know.
That's right.
So yeah, man, it's taking a load off my shoulders. I feel a whole lot better. Um, I'm sleeping better,
That's good.
breathing better. I'm thinking better.
That's good. The breathing part of it, it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything's better. Um, but yeah, it's kind of it doesn't seem real that like this shirt I have on now is a 4X. If I
Oh
stand
wow.
up, it's like I get with my brother's closet and I'm taking his clothes because he dresses cooler than me.
Mm.
You know, so like yeah, like my clothes look like curtains on me right now. And every
Yeah.
time I'm laid up, like I bought clothes. I had to buy clothes last month, and then I finally got down to the clothes that I had before, so I can wear my older clothes now. Clothes I haven't worn since 2006.
That's that's so to put it in perspective, 2006 was almost 20 years ago. That's 19 years ago. So think about that.
2006, 2007, where I'm almost to yeah, I'm almost down to 2002 or 2003. I'll get there. So,
So ultimately, if you want to look at it in a really weird way, you can say like you've kind of gained back, 19 years of your life by
I have,
losing that much weight. Yeah.
I have, man. I know that I have. Everything's better. Stamina's better. I wake up, I sleep better. I wake up better. Um, and that's not even. I would say the coolest part is this: is I've been asked by so many people, "What did I do? What did I
Right,
do?"
exactly.
I've got I just typed up a page that I've been given to like somebody will ask me what it is, what I did, and I'm like, well, I typed something up. She's like, yeah, can you get it to me? He's like, yeah, I'll just I'll drop it on your desktop because it's at work and I don't have to email it. I can literally put it on their computer, So I just do that, because employee communications are monitored. I don't want to embarrass anybody, and I really don't
Right,
care. I'm already on the right
right.
path. Yeah, everybody knows I used to look like Santa Claus. I don't care because I don't look like Santa Claus anymore. So, but the cool part, man, is finding out that other people started losing weight because they saw me. Other people
That's right.
tried to
And
lose
that
weight. Hey,
that's in essence what it's all about
that's cool, man. That's really
is
cool.
multiplying that effect.
Yeah, like entire departments have made comments about everybody I talked to. Like that's a good feeling. Like God, start losing weight too. What are you doing? This. Send me recipes. I will say this. This is something I haven't heard anybody really say that they've done, and this is probably
Hmm.
my secret weapon. Um, I leveraged AI a lot.
Huh.
The one thing I did was that I used it to help me get my calories. So, like my daily caloric intake, my average, like where I should be, or what my daily usage is if I'm very active. Um, so I was able to determine that. I was able to get like my macronutrient breakdown. Like I would tell it. I used to tell it what I ate like every 2 days. Um, I got tired of it because
Were you
now
using Chat GPT? What were you using?
I was using chat, but I went over to Grok.
Grok.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Grok.
Because now I'm not familiar
Twitter
with
works.
Grok. Do you have to download Twitter and use in order to use Grok, or can you just Google Grok and then?
I think Grok is now free.
Okay, so you can just Google it
I
and use it.
think you can just go to Grok. It seems X / AI Grok. I'm not sure, but I mean,
Okay.
I think it's off subscription based now. But um, getting my caloric breakdown that was good. Getting learning what I like the questions. I'd have questions of how to do this, how to add this new exercise, how to, you know, what should happen, why do I feel this way? But the biggest thing, that's not even the cool part. The
Okay.
cool part is the psychological support. So let's say, and this happened to me more times than I could count, I would do everything right for 2, sometimes 3 weeks. I wouldn't lose a single pound. And it would make me so angry because I know I'm doing everything right, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm eating right. I'm moving. I'm even going to the gym and nothing's happening on the scale. So I'm like, Grok, I'm tired of this shit. You know, I've done everything right. And then Grok's like, look, man, weight loss isn't linear. You can do everything right, not lose a single pound. And then like 2 days after I did that, I lost 8 pounds overnight.
Hmm.
It's like, so yeah, being reminded to stay in the game. Like that's hard to bug the hell out of your friends to do because I could do that to Grok at 2 in the morning. Hey Grok, because I know he ain't sleep. He don't need sleep.
Yeah. That
He's
which we're real quick sidebar is why I've always loved crypto because that market never sleeps.
yeah, yeah. So like the tech. I've never heard anybody say that they used AI like I have, and I would say the biggest benefit of using it was the psychological side. Being
Hmm.
told, I would ask the same question sometimes, 3 or 4 or 5 times a week, already knowing what the answer.
Hmm.
I didn't need to know the answer. I needed the reassurance that I
Yeah.
could go on and things would happen. So it's gotten
Hmm.
better now because I could
Right.
just about I could like this week I knew I was losing weight. I knew I was losing weight last Monday. I even told one of the guys at work, was like, yep, it's coming off. So that was last week I was 268, I think this morning, I don't know, 263. It was like I could feel it now. But I've gotten to a point where I'm so comfortable. I know it's going to happen if I do everything right. So even if I go a week
So
with a bunch of weight, I'll still lose an inch in my
so
weight.
for most people or people in general, they do feel comfortable with reaching out to others for reassurance. So from your perspective, you're not you've never struck me as a person with that's shy or an introvert. Um, even if you are, but you would say from your experience that AI's consistent uh, reinforcement, even if you're a type of person that doesn't like to talk to other people, was actually something that could be used as a way to kind of keep encouraging you to stay in the process, stay on the path.
Yeah, because I had to be reminded several times that weight loss takes time. Anything worth doing takes time. Once I
Hmm.
learned that, because I didn't learn it right off, even though I was doing it, the first 50 pounds I hadn't learned it. So when I
Hmm.
went from the 350s to the 300s, it still
Hmm.
hadn't hit yet. And the
Yeah.
reason it hadn't hit yet is because when you start anything, when you start any kind of diet plan, weight loss plan, you're going to lose weight. That's why
Right.
any
You're
program
gonna
out
plateau.
yeah, but you'll lose like so any weight program you can go online right now. They're going to give you a 5 or 10 pounds in 30 days guaranteed because you could do anything and in 30 days you'll lose 5 or 10 pounds. Whether it's change your diet, start walking, just quit drinking sodas. You make a
Yeah.
change, your body will adjust. You will lose weight eventually. Like
Yeah.
in that 30 days, that's just you can take placebo and you'll
Yeah.
lose 5 pounds in 30 days. Like
And
that.
there's so much science backing it up. It's like actuaries that do the
Yeah.
math. They know.
That's why they're willing to do it because if they even try halfway, try it, they're going to lose the weight, right? Um,
Right.
but it's no, I had to be reminded, man. I had to constantly be reminded. Then I had to I learned things too. Like I learned that I was going too hard at the gym for my age. Not a young man again. I'm not
Mhm.
old. I'm middle aged. So it was important for me to learn that I need recovery time. Sleep is very important to men my age. If I'm going to go into the gym and give it all I got, I've got to come home and relax.
Yes,
That may
recovery.
mean I don't feel good the next day. Guess what? I need to stay in bed or relax the next day. A little active recovery, walk around, but there's no reason to go to the gym. It's okay because I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not going for the GQ magazine cover
Yeah.
anytime soon, you know? So what's the rush? Just settle in and ride it out. Just take care of yourself. And
Hmm.
so yeah, and then I was able to learn from AI too that like I actually started to learn why most of your professionals start telling you that it's a lifestyle change. Like it's so much easier to just live right instead of going, man, I'm on a diet. I'm gonna have one chili dog instead of two. Why? If you're gonna eat one, eat two. Get the cherry coke. Like get you a root beer float. Go and get a sundae afterwards. Like it's like getting a. I mean, it's like getting a Big Mac and then getting a Diet Coke. Why?
Yeah.
Extra 300 calories. You're already sucking down 1,800. Go for it. Just do it tomorrow. You like do it. You can have those days, right?
Right.
But like being constantly reminded that like the biggest thing I had to learn was the weight loss isn't linear. That I can do everything right, and the scale will not move.
Right.
Like if I was to draw a line of the weight loss, it would look like an earthquake with the Richter scale, right? But that 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 line would be trended down.
Yes.
So even though it goes up some days, still the trend over a 30 or 60-day period, still that steady slope.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, most people give up because they think it's not working or they're not getting results
It's
fast enough.
working. You just gotta keep uh
Stick with it.
you gotta stick with it. What is his name? I can see his name right now. Um, he's a great motivational speaker. He speaks at the church sometimes. And then
I'm trying to think. Is it Tony Robbins?
no, no, not Tony. Um,
There's a lot of good.
it's not Zig Ziglar. It's gosh, I know the guy. I mean I know I'm gonna be so mad when I'm gonna have to look it up and then I know
Oh,
it's
this
getting a
week
little
and the
late.
second one. Hey, man,
John Maxwell. That's who it is. John Maxwell, of course.
I have to look that up. I have to look him up.
Yeah,
All I know
John
is
Maxwell. So what he's used as an analogy is, the best way to cut down a tree and keep your axe sharp is to, when you're focusing on cutting down a tree, don't go off into the forest to cut down another tree. You keep cutting the tree until you cut it down. That's the way you make sure you cut down a tree. Is you keep hammering away at that tree until it's finally cut down. You don't go off and start on another tree. You keep hammering at that tree. That's the best way to get something done. And then again, it's staying in the process, it's being consistent. When I look at consistency, I don't look at when I look at consistency, this is how I look at consistency. I don't look at it as you doing something every day. I look at it as you have the willingness to go back and do it again, even if it's 5 years from now, even if it's 2 years from now, even if it's 5 days from now, even if it's 5 months from now. That's consistency in my mind. You're willing to pick up that thing, that idea, and keep going at it. And so again, that's where we have to have grace on ourselves and forgive ourselves and say, hey, I've tried this weight loss thing. I just haven't done it. I've tried it for years. I just can't do it. It's like, well, are you willing to try again? It's like, yeah, I am. Okay. That's consistency in my mind. Now, was that the exact hardcore definition of consistency? Probably not. But to me, you're being consistent. You genuinely have a desire to do a thing, and that the fact that you're willing to pick it up again after however many times you failed and willing to go at it again, to me, that's and it's a good and if it's a good thing, then that's definitely plausible. Was well worth cheering for.
you know, man. I mean, how many times I can't tell you how many times I've tried to quit smoking. I don't know. It's more than five.
Yep.
Can't tell you how many times I thought about losing weight. I probably mentioned it. Uh, but I only had to succeed one time.
Yep.
Like, like if you do it one time, you got it. I mean, it took me several times. I had to ask the doctor for help.
Yep.
I got help. I couldn't do it alone. I realized I needed help. That was the biggest thing.
Yes.
The doctor, AI. I added tools to the resources. I added tools to the toolkit to get it done. Like I didn't
I
have
think
to.
that's the biggest secret too, is
Yeah.
realizing at the end of the day, we as human beings, we all need help.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
can't do it on our own.
no. I mean, I prayed, man. I'll tell you, like when I mentioned the looking in the mirror, taking responsibility. I had to take power. It's my responsibility to take care of myself. That's huge. That was
Yep.
another that was another tool. That all if you combine it all, you get Blake in his 260s, who looks like a Russian mafia hitman. You know, like forget about it. But but I mean, seriously though, like it wasn't necessarily one thing. It wasn't anything amazing or magical. Like AI is probably something that nobody's ever heard of or not popularly done. But yeah, like it was another tool, like something I leveraged because the psychological. I mean, it was all in my head, man. most things are done in your head. Because could I physically resist going into a store and buying a pack of cigarettes, or like physically like get up and make myself be healthy? Of course, I could physically do it. I could walk, I could talk, I could drive, I could do all those things. But I wasn't doing it here.
Yep.
I wasn't doing it here. Once I figured that out, like you have to commitment, being self compassionate. Like when I took responsibility, I had to remind myself it's okay. There's a guy in there that can do it. He's a good guy. He's a cool guy. You can do it, even though you made the mistake. It's still time to turn it around.
Yeah.
It's not the end. Like you're
Yeah.
breathing right, then
Yeah.
there's time to turn it around. So that was huge, man. It was huge. And I hope that I've showed not just my people, but like my daughter, like it's okay.
That's that's all that matters.
Yeah, man.
That's really all that matters. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I don't care if people think it's selfish, because it is. And I highly admit that it's selfish. That's the whole reason why this thing exists, actually, is this is my legacy to my kids. If they ever have a question of what daddy was like outside of being daddy, well, this is what daddy's like outside of being daddy. This Asian guy that's weird and funny and loves anime and loves cooking shows and loves this type of stuff. That's who I am too. Human, completely human. So, you know, again, it does if it does it helps other people, it's great, wonderful. But if it leaves something that my kids can hold on to and helps them live great lives, and then hopefully they pass it on to their kids to show, hey, this is what your grandpa was like. He's crazy, but it's okay. He loves you. And then, hey, this is what your great grandpa was like. He's crazy, but he loves you. Hey, this is what your great 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 grandpa was like. He's very crazy, but I know he loves you very, very much. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. It's as we get older, the word legacy carries a lot more meaning, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. And I think the sooner we do our children a great benefit, also a great disservice, if we don't teach them about legacy at a very young age. Because I think if we can teach them legacy at a very young age, it will help them value things more faster. And that's the most important thing. Because if you learn how to value things, the more you're willing to fight for it, the more you're willing to protect it, the more you're willing to help it keep growing.
And other thing, like a lot of the changes I've recently made is I didn't just do them for myself either.
That's right.
I take responsibility. Uh, Being able to look my daughter in the eye and be like, "Ha, I quit smoking. I don't have to look at you and feel shameful when because I could
Yeah.
see the look of
It's a
disappointment. It was awful, man. It was
yeah.
awful. Enough to drive.
It's a different type of feeling when it's coming from your kids.
Yeah, man. I think she told me she was proud of me 2 weeks ago because every time she sees me, I've lost like 7 pounds, 7 or 5 pounds.
It's a different type of motivator. It really
Yeah.
is.
She
Yeah,
always
it's a
gets in the car though, so I can't like hide my face. So she tries to get me to chuck up. So I'm like, "You okay, Dad? It's okay to cry." No, I'm fine. I just got something in my eye.
I got something behind.
See that cow over there in that field?
Yeah, yeah.
Everything's fine. But man, it is a good feeling. Hopefully, she's learning a lot about
She is. She
hopefully
is.
she's learning about a lot about herself through my actions. I'm hoping she's not
I think
a little gifted in
I
the.
think it's important for you to say that to her, you
I
know?
do. I tell her all the time. I try to tell her one thing. I try to tell her she was born with everything she needs. You just got to figure out how to use it right. And I
Yeah.
say that a lot to her because I didn't. A lot of things I didn't figure out till later in life. Uh, that, confidence, believing in yourself, doing the right thing, integrity, faith. Uh, got to tap into that stuff. A lot of people ain't going to tell you what you're good at. You got to go and figure it out. Now that requires you to fail. Put yourself out there, break your comfort zone. Uh,
And that's okay. Failure
that's okay.
failure is okay.
Yeah, it's okay, but you never know. Now that I've learned all these a short amount of time, you've kind of been there what since it all began back in 2015. No,
I don't
um,
know.
man,
It's all going by so fast now.
but yeah, man, like it's you got to try. Like I'd much rather be told, well, you tried, but you sucked. Uh, Has to think to myself, man, I wonder what that would have been like if I actually went through with it. I bet you it would have been cool. I
Yeah.
honestly think myself, especially getting into the age that I'm about to be in, what 20, 30 years, get a lot harder to go for it and YOLO it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why you gotta go for it now.
Yeah, man. But yeah, just just trying to teach her like we're all born with everything we need. You got to tap into it. Though. You got to use it. It's just like fitness and health. Those are all things in life. Faith. You got to work on your faith, right? That you're not born with, oh, I got the most powerful faith in the world. You got to build it up. You build these things up. It takes time. Um, so, so yeah, man. But dude, I gotta hit the
You
sack,
gotta
man.
get after it. I
I
know.
do, man. I want to talk about the election and everything, though. Like, if I didn't have to be up at 4, I could do this another 2 hours, man. I'm having a blast. It's been awesome. Hang on to this one. Let's do a part 2 before you upload it, if you want
Okay.
to. You want to do that? Or you
Uh
part
we
one
can
on?
still upload and then I won't uh I can still upload and then we still do part two. We'll work it
Oh,
out.
that's fine, man. Yeah, I'll because this week I don't have an exam in statistics, so I just aced it today, so I'm good this week. I've got a discussion question and do some workbook questions, but that's it. That's
Okay.
that's um, that's about I don't know 10 hours this week, so I'll have a lot more free time this week.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
All right. Get some rest.
I love you. I'll talk to you later, man.
Love you too, buddy.
Bye, man.
Bye.